New York is home to countless streams, rivers, and lakes. These bodies of water provide a home for wildlife and a source of food for animals and humans. Unfortunately, many are polluted with a dangerous chemical called mercury.
Well, mercury is an element. It's found naturally in the environment, in bedrock and in other things. It's a useful element and has been used in many different things, but it's also an important contaminant in the environment. It's a fairly powerful neurotoxin. It affects the nerves in our brains and the nerves that run throughout our bodies and can interfere with behavior, with the ability to move.
Mercury can get into our waters in a few different ways. It's used in electronics, like TVs, computers, and light bulbs. So when they get put into a landfill, the mercury ends up in the ground and water. It also gets into the air when power plants burn fuel to make electricity. The mercury turns into a gas, goes up into the air, and comes back down with the rain. Once the mercury is in the water, it changes, and a process called biomagnification begins, where the mercury is taken in by the plants and animals on the bottom of the food chain and then works its way up to the predators on the top.
When you come to Delta Lake, like most lakes, you find that the water isn't crystal clear like it comes out of your tap. But that color that you find in there, that's the base of the food chain. That's the plankton, and that's where it all begins. This is a young yellow perch, and this is the next step in the food chain. These young perch feed on the plankton and move the mercury up the food chain into a higher level. This is a smallmouth bass, one of the predator species here in Delta Lake. These feed on young perch and other small minnows in the lake, moving the mercury yet another level in the food chain.
So the perch takes in the mercury from the plankton it eats. The bass takes in all the mercury from each perch it eats. So as you move up the food chain, the bigger animals end up with more and more harmful mercury in their bodies. That's biomagnification. This building up of mercury can be dangerous for these fish and the animals that eat them. To protect New York's plants and animals, Eric and the DEC monitor how much mercury is in the fish.
We monitor the mercury by going out and collecting fish from lakes or streams.
They test the fish they collect to find out how much mercury is in them and use that information to protect the environment. It's used to let people know which waters they can eat fish from and how many fish they can safely eat. It's used to protect wildlife by letting scientists know which ecosystems are the most affected by mercury and need to be helped. It keeps mercury out of the environment by helping the government create laws that reduce the amount of mercury released by factories and power plants. It lets people like you know that mercury is a problem so that you can do something about it. The easiest way is to use less energy. Using less energy means power plants don't burn as much of the fuel that puts the mercury into the environment. And recycle. It keeps things like light bulbs and computers that have mercury in them out of the trash, and that keeps mercury out of the ground. These simple steps can help keep our state and planet clean.